Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we'll be painting a beautiful glowing sunset sky using watercolors, and this is what we are going to paint. So let's get started. So one important thing which I would highly suggest you to do is use the right kind of paper, especially when we are working with so many layers on the clouds. So here I'm using 100% cotton trim cold pressed watercolor paper. Make sure that you check the description box below to see the different options of the paper which would work best for this technique. Alright, now let's get into the sketching part. So I will draw the horizon line just below the half of my paper, and I'll draw one huge mountain on top of it and two tiny little cottages on the front. And that's all with the sketching part. We'll move on to the painting part. So we'll be majorly using wet on wet technique for our sky part. So we will first apply even layer of clean water on the sky, and then we will start with the blue wash on the top, and we will make that color darker on the top, and as we come downwards we will make it lighter. Same way we will add the orange color just at the bottom, and once the base of the sky is done we will start adding the clouds. So first we will apply the clouds using the orange color. So now the technique when you apply color on wet paper is, whenever you load your brush with paint, remove the excess on the edge of the tissue, as well as you make sure that you dab off the excess color on the tissue before you apply it on the paper. Please don't forget this step, otherwise you will end up pouring a lot of color on the paper, especially when the paper is still wet, and you will see that the color and the water will go everywhere, making all those larger blooms which you don't really want. You see, whenever I'm applying paint on my paper, although my paper is wet, the paint are not moving a lot on it, and they are holding those shape. That is because I'm removing the excess paint from my brush on the tissue. Okay, so all you need to do is do this step and then start adding the colors. That is, we started with the orange color, then we slowly moved on to painting the pink clouds on the right hand corner, and then we started with the purple color. Okay, so that's with the sky part, and now we will let it completely dry. While that is drying, we will move on to painting the foreground part. So I will apply a very olive green color. So if you don't have that color, you just need to add a little bit of yellow ochre to your green, and then just apply that color on the foreground as well as just behind the house. And I really wanted the focus of my painting to be on the sky, so I won't be adding a lot of details in the foreground part. So I'm just giving a wash of different grains on the foreground part, and that's it. I won't add any more details to it. Maybe at the end I will just add few details using wet on dry, but that's it for now. Okay, now let's paint the mountain which is there on the horizon line. So here I'm mixing my very dark green color. So to do that, I just added a little bit of darker blue color to my green, and then I applied a lighter wash of that color on the mountain, and then using the smaller brush I'm using thick consistency of the same paint and reapplying it in some areas of the mountain, and I will leave some gaps in between, and it will create a beautiful depth in the mountain. Now let everything dry. Once it is dry, let's move on to painting the roof and the lower part of the house. Simply add dark brown color on the top and lighter brown color at the bottom, and let's paint some bushes around the house. So here I'm using a light green color. So if you don't have light green, all you need to do is add a little bit of bright yellow color to your green and apply the first layer of the bush, and then use a little bit of darker green color and start adding few dots on top of it to create a bit of depth in your bushes. Remember to use smaller brush to do that. Also, do remember to check out the description box before you leave. I'll mention the size of the paper, the brushes I have used, and the colors I have used, everything. So make sure you check that out before you start painting and before you leave. Alright, so that you know exactly what I have used. Okay, so time to add all those tiny details. So here I added the doors and the windows of the house using a bright blue color, that is the cerulean blue. And lastly, I'm adding some darker strokes on the bushes and the trees, and some of the shadow in the foreground part, and we are done. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I'm super excited to see all of your work. So if you do paint, then do tag us, and I'll see you guys really soon in the next video. Bye.